Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Whatever the I Want podcast, where I, your host, Gabby, gets to talk about whatever the I want. And today's episode is going to be about how to find joy in the ordinary. This episode is dedicated to anybody who is struggling with their mental health. I see you. I recognize what you're going through, and I have also been there. It was December of 2023, December 2023, where I was diagnosed with depression and severe anxiety. And I've never been on medication for it, but I will say that this technique is truly what helped get me out of that depressive episode. So without further ado, here are some ways that I try to find joy in the ordinary. I actually made a list for you all. I was planning on filming this episode the other day, but one thing or another happened. It was snowing outside. Keep in mind, it's April. It was snowing outside. It was so cold. I literally got out of the car and it was so cold that the cold bit, that oh my gosh, kind of cold. And I wasn't layered. That was the biggest problem, was that I was not layered. I was literally wearing a tank top, a hoodie, and sweatpants. Not layered properly at all. So I was I've been enjoying filming outside, and it's been a way to practice, kind of like public speaking, but being seen in public, doing the things that I love, and to not be insecure about it. But then my microphone wasn't in the car, and then I took a lot of those things as signs okay, we're just not filming today. But I did make a list because the idea came to me randomly, and here's some things that I am grateful for that day specifically. So I randomly decided to go grab food after I had gone to the gym. And keep in mind, I go to the gym at a different time every day. At some points in my life, it's been consistent, but right now it's just kind of intuitive. It's just whenever I have the chance to go during my day, whenever it feels right, I'm able to go. And thankfully I have that opportunity to do that. And all of the machines that I wanted to use were empty. No matter what time I go, I'm able to get whatever machine I want to use, which is freaking awesome, right? And I checked my app, because I'm going to get food, and I saw that I had a free cookie reward. And I was like, period, I'm going to give me a little free cookie. So I was really excited about that. And then the guy at the drive-thru asked me how I was several times, hey, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm great. How are you? I'm good. How are you doing today? And it just went on for a little bit until I finally was like, damn, we keep asking each other how we are. But it was a very human moment. And I'm it made me smile. And then yesterday I grabbed food with my boyfriend, and, the cashier's enjoy your food. And he was like, thanks, you too. And we both just giggled because those videos where it's thanks, you too, and then they start eating with you or whatever. It's just those tiny little things that make you smile, that you got to hold on to whenever you're feeling down. Another thing that happened was I was driving and I saw it had been raining for a couple days, and there was maybe about a couple inches of water, maybe half a foot of water, and almost a ditch area. And there was this beautiful crane, its legs half deep into the water, and it was just super majestic. And I almost wanted to pull over to the side of the road to take a picture of it, because it was just such a beautiful thing to witness. And that's a part of falling back in love with your life, because I think whenever you are depressed, or you are feeling anxious, or just kind of hating your life, it's because the opposite. You're not falling in love with it. And whenever you were a kid, and you'd go on car rides, car rides weren't the most fun. A lot of, people struggle with sitting still. You can't take all your favorite toys on a car ride. And what would we do? We would make life fun. We would look out the window and we'd try to count how many stop signs, we saw, or we would, I would like pretend like I had like a line and I would go up above every single post, like light pole or whatever. And I would just like pretend that I was like a game, like, and I was just like having to go over all of these and like jumping over these posts. And, think about how life was for you as a child and what you would do for fun. So maybe you took a coloring book with you everywhere. Maybe you took a journal and you wrote songs. Maybe you had a box of Legos and you would just build things whenever you were bored. And also like, think about how whenever you'd go to your grandparents' house, like maybe they didn't have the newest toys or anything there, but maybe they had your favorite ice cream stocked in the fridge. And so you were able to find joy in the little moments. And I think that that's a huge part of what it is like as an adult. You have to find joy in the ordinary things around you. Like maybe your favorite toothpaste was for sale at the grocery store. Maybe you have a buy one, get one for Poke Bowls and, you get to take your friend out with you. Maybe today you just got out of bed and that's all that you managed, but at least you got out of bed. Or maybe you get to use your favorite body wash whenever you shower, and so you feel like you get to smell so good. Maybe somebody got you a really nice smelling perfume or cologne for your birthday. Or maybe your niece or nephew handed you a Valentine's Day card, and maybe you get to hide the Easter eggs for the kids for Easter. It's like there is joy all around us. There's happiness all around us. I mean, you can literally go to the park and you can see, kids on the playground, and you can see like an old couple on a bench, or you can see, a mom on rollerblades pushing her kid. And, maybe that's her only exercise that she gets to get is whenever she takes her kids to the park. And it's like, you can see the happiness and the joy in other people's lives and allow yourself to absorb that energy as well, even if you're just witnessing it, right? Like when I go to a wedding, I experience the joy of getting married, although I'm not the one getting married at all, but I can see their love. I can feel it. And I honestly get very emotional at weddings whenever I see couples. I've been to weddings where I have not known the couples because, my mom or dad would want to go, and I did not know them and I'd be there crying. And I think that that's a big part of it, is like sulking in a good way. Like maybe the word isn't sulking, soaking up those moments that you have and allowing that energy to carry you throughout the day. And it might not. I mean, it is practice. I'm not going to lie. It is practice to feel good about yourself. And sometimes it is the smaller things that you have to be grateful for. So it can be, oh, my hair looks nice today. Maybe you don't like anything else about yourself, but, at the very least, you can acknowledge that your hair looks nice. That's where you start, right? You start with acknowledging that something is good in your life, and then slowly but surely other good things will start to happen. And that's the beauty of it all. Like life, everybody's going to experience tragedy and truthfully, probably depression or extreme sadness at some point. We're all going to experience loss. And the key thing to keep in mind is to not stay there. While we all know that grief comes in waves, it is very addicting to be depressed, to be sad, to listen to sad music, to soak in those moments. And I'm not saying to not feel your feelings. Obviously, feel your feelings. If you feel sad, angry, anxious, disappointed, fantastic. I can't remember what this guy said the other day. I was like, how are you? And he was like, something like super quirky, like skippity doo, I can move, so I'm good. And I used to always just say like, oh, I'm doing good when people would ask me how I'm doing. And now I say I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. And it's because, we would say just I'm doing good out of just ordinary response. But now I'm more truthful, like I'm doing fantastic today. I'm doing good. There's some days where I'm just doing good, or like I'm doing great, or, I'm my day's getting better, or, you know, it's been tough so far, but I know that it's not the end of the day, right? It's a bad moment. It's not a bad day. So I'm a little bit more honest with myself and with the people around me about how I am actually feeling, because I mean, for me to sit here and to, you know, tell a family member of mine who's like, how are you, Gabby? And I just say good, when in reality, maybe I am sad. Maybe I do need a shoulder to lean on. You have to be saying those things. You need to be expressing how you feel. And maybe there isn't somebody around you that you necessarily feel entirely comfortable with, you know, because a lot of the people that I know that are depressed, it's kind of like a, well, I can't afford therapy. Well, I don't have anybody I can talk to. Well, I don't. And it's just a lot of like, you're met with a lot of negativity. I mean, it is a cloud just like over your head with pouring down rain is what it feels like, and lightning, and you just like cold and you just want to like crawl into a ball. But really, really sit down and think about it, because I have friends who are also severely depressed, and, you know, it hurts whenever they say I have nobody, because there's people like me and a bunch of other friends that they have in their lives who are there for them. And it just, obviously we know that it's their brain convincing them that that's not true, but you need to rewire your brain. That's what a lot of this is just rewiring your brain to look for the good. I can almost guarantee that you do have somebody that you can lean on, that you can reach out to. And this could even be online friends. I have met so many friends through Twitch, through online gaming, and, you know, it almost like throws away or completely disregards that relationship whenever you say, I have no one, because that's not true. And I used to get really triggered whenever people would say, you know, you should go pray, you should do this, you should find God. And it was really triggering for me whenever I was depressed, because it's just like, you don't fucking get it. You don't fucking get it. Like, God's not going to solve the problem, this and that. But I will say that having your spiritual awakening and finding whatever source that you lean on, it's so relieving to know that I don't have control over like 99.9% of the things in my life. You know, like I can't control, you know, things that happen to my family members. I can't control things that happen to, you know, me. Maybe I stubbed my toe. Like, it's not anything that I can control. But what I can control is how I feel, right? What I can control is how I go about things. And just because it may be pouring on, you know, my side of the island doesn't mean that I need to almost like project it or spread it onto other people. It's like, okay, so a parent is not talking to you for whatever reason, right? Like, because I know people's families are like that. Like, you know, my mom hasn't talked to me in 2 weeks. Okay, your mom hasn't talked to you in 2 weeks, but that doesn't mean you have to take it out on your best friend and ignore them for 2 weeks. Like, that's what I kind of mean. I mean, like, whenever there's like a trickle effect to things, right? And what I'm saying is to not allow those things to trickle into your life. Just because one bad situation happened does not mean that your entire life has to be bad. Just because you didn't get into this one school doesn't mean that you're not going to get into this other school that you applied to. Like, it's about finding the silver lining. It's about seeing your glass half full versus half empty. And it starts with gratitude. It starts with, you know, making things fun. If it starts with watching your comfort TV shows. It starts with finding hobbies. It starts with dancing just because you fucking want to. It starts with cooking your favorite meals. It starts with wearing your favorite perfume because it makes you feel good. How you feel internally is a reflection of your external world. So it's time for you to do that inner work, figure out why it is that you're feeling this way. What can you do to help yourself feel better, and actually do those things? I can't tell you how many times where I'd be like, I don't feel like showering before I go to bed, and, you know, I'm just not going to do it. Even though I know that it'll help me feel better. So now if I ever have those moments where I'm like, I just want to go to bed. Valid. If you have a terrible day and you just want to go to bed and call it a night, totally valid. But I know that if I were to take a shower before going to bed, it will make me feel better. So now I push myself to do those things. Example, today, I did not want to do goblet squats. I just was like, oh, I don't want to freaking do it. But then I asked myself, do I not want to do it because I don't think I can physically handle it? Or do I not want to do it just because I don't want to set it up or because I'm feeling fatigued? So compromise. I did goblet squats and I just didn't do as much weight as I usually do. I just did more reps. Okay. And I had to literally compromise with myself. I'm literally reparenting myself and like therapizing myself and being like, okay, well, what do you need, honey? What do you need? And what can we do? You know, I believe in you. You can do it. And it sounds almost like ridiculous, but like if you truly open up your mind to the idea that you can rewire your brain and you can find joy and you can find happiness and that you inherently deserve these things, because that's where a lot of it starts with, is your self-worth. What does your self-worth look like? How do you feel about yourself? You know, like I had to learn that I couldn't control how I looked, right? Like I can't control my facial features. I can't control a lot of things like that. But what I can control is me going to the gym and feeling strong and good about myself. I decided to do that. What I can control is, you know, maybe I wear makeup some days because it makes me feel, you know, a little bit more put together. Or maybe I do wear my favorite sweatshirt, you know, more often because it makes me feel good. It's about, you know, that look good, feel good. I talk about that a lot. And it's so true because I spent a lot of my life, maybe not a lot, but I did spend a couple years of like, I'm just comfortable. I'm just cozy. I don't really care what anybody says. And you shouldn't care what anybody says. But it was at the expense of my self-esteem. It was that I was like, I don't care what anybody says because I didn't care about myself enough. And I'm not saying to be hypercritical of yourself. Do not look in the mirror and look at every single pore that you have, you know, whatever. Don't do that. That's not healthy. If you can't step on a scale and, you know, I guess like separate the idea of like, you know, muscle weighing more than fat and things like that. If you know that that's not good for your mental health, then don't fucking do that. I think that it sounds so simple, but it's so hard to do in the moment. If something does not feel good for you, do not do it. If someone makes you feel shitty or icky to be around, do not be around them. And so what we can do is to create happiness and to create joy. And we do that by doing the things that we love. Go for hikes if you love hikes. If you, like, for example, I really want a bird feeder. So whenever springtime is like full and running the weather, I am going to get a bird feeder because I really like looking at the birds. And so, you know, that's something that's so simple, but that's something that I know that will bring me joy. If you enjoy making your morning coffee every single day and, you know, maybe you have to get up, you know, early Monday morning to go buy your creamer every single week just because it's always sold out, right? So you push yourself to get out of bed to buy that creamer for your sake. You know, that those are the things that you have to do. You know, like if going to the gym or going for a walk, you hate doing midday because of how hot and sweaty you get, but you love a night walk to see the sunset, do that. You know, like why are you not doing the things that feel good for you? You know, we got to start there. But I hope that this episode encourages you to want to feel good, right? Because that's the biggest thing is you've got to know that you want better in order to achieve better. You've got to know that you want more in order to achieve more. I have a friend who works at her job and she doesn't want to climb the ladder. She's like, I'm happy with where I'm happy with what I make and I'm happy with what I do. I don't want more responsibility. And her higher ups are like, no, you've been here for so many years. You should be at this position, whatever. And she's like, but I don't want that. And that is perfectly fine. It is perfectly fine for you to, if you are happy with certain things in your life and you want them to remain the same, that is perfectly fine. Nobody's saying that you have to do something that you don't want to do. But what I am saying is to do the things that you want to do. If you do want to call that friend, if you do want to go for that walk, if you do want to take that hot shower, if you do want to start this new hobby, if you do want to start uploading YouTube videos, do that. Start taking yourself seriously. Start loving yourself more because you truly deserve that. You deserve to feel good and to feel happy about your life. And so no more, you know, having these poopy feelings, like they're not fun. And obviously we all have our moments, but don't allow those moments to be hours. Don't allow those moments to be days. Don't allow those moments to be weeks, years even. Don't allow that. You know, you can control. That's it. I'm tired of feeling that way. I cried it all out. You know, same thing with like a breakup. I'm tired. I don't want to see that person anymore. I'm done. You can be just done. I'm done with feeling like this. And that's what happened with me. I was like, I hit rock bottom. I was like, I don't fucking want to feel this way again. And so what do? I actively try to not feel that way by going to the gym, by reading books that I enjoy, by releasing this podcast, by wearing fun clothes, by taking the time to like brush my hair. Like, that makes me feel good, and it makes me not reach those depressive states or vibrations. And that's what you have to be doing, is to catch things early on, because then if you don't, by the time you know it, you are back inside that hole, and it's hard to get out of it. It is very hard to get out of those holes. But of course, by, the grace of God, by your own willpower, by your friends, by your family, and hopefully by therapy or journaling or things like that, you are able to get out of it. But I highly encourage you to catch yourself whenever you feel yourself slowly starting to slip through the cracks, and reach out to people like, hey, so-and-so, like, I'm not feeling like myself. Are you up for a call? Or can you play iPhone games with me? Because I'm in my head right now. Or maybe you just put on your favorite movie and you buy your favorite snack, or you eat popcorn. And I don't want to hear people say like, I can't. You can go to the dollar store and you can spend $2 on yourself. You can. It is okay. It is okay to buy $1 popcorn and $1 candy bar, or to buy crafts or even coloring books or crossword puzzles at the dollar store. Like, you cannot allow money to hinder your happiness, because if you do, you're only allowing like corporate America or like these big corporations to win, right? Like, you can spend your money where you want to, and you should be spending it doing the things that you enjoy doing, or even doing things for free. Going to the museum. A lot of museums in towns are free. A lot of parks are free. The library is free. There's so many resources at the library. Use it. Go there. Even if, say that you live in a toxic household and sometimes you just got to get out, go to the library. You're not spending any money. There's books there. There's movies. There's, activities and things to do there. Like, you have to kind of find your sanctuary and create that space for yourself so that you can experience that joy. You know what I mean? With that being said, if you enjoy this podcast, don't forget to leave it a 5-star review. And if you have any topics that you want for me to cover, or anything that you're interested in hearing my opinion about, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to add it to the list of ideas that I have. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.